Well, a lot of people ask me how I got involved with MS, and I want to say my mother had it. But I really want to say my mother had it.
Most people know Laura as a nice, kind person and beautiful and all these things. But what they don't really know about my wife is that she has this terrible disease called MS.
He said, when did you have this? When did you have that? And I'm thinking, oh my God, he's connecting the dots. What's he gonna say at the end? And he laced his fingers in his lap and he says, my dear, beyond a shadow of a doubt, you have MS. The hardest part was telling my parents, how do you just start, I have MS. And then I told them, and I just remember leaving with my dad looking up at the sky, he just didn't know what to do. I knew nothing about MS, except that people were in wheelchairs. And I heard, you could die from this. And I looked at the doctor and I said, what do you mean I could die from this?
Every morning she wakes up, it takes her a couple hours to get her legs and everything moving to the point that she can move from her bed to her wheelchair. But she's fighting, she's my hero. She's a year and 8 days older than me. She's my big sister, and I love her.
What's happened in the last 20 years is just amazing as it relates to the treatments for MS. But still a long way away, there's not a cure for MS. I mean, that's what we're all here for today. That's the win, that's the finish line, is a cure for this disease.
I became involved with MS when I was 15, and my mother was diagnosed with it. It was a trauma in our family. She was 35, and within a year and a half, she became blind and paralyzed from the waist down. There was no treatment out at that time for anything, and she died when she was 49 years old. But you can either be bitter or get better when bad things happen. She handled a very bad situation beautifully, and she was and still is my mentor.
When I was 7 years old, my mother went to the hospital, and when she came out of the hospital, which was in my mind a few weeks later, I was very confused because my mother was showing symptoms of an illness that I had never seen.
All of us here know Joe, and many of the qualities that you see in Joe existed in his mom. She was a wonderful lady.
I watched my mom go from what I thought to be a normal physical existence to a compromised ability to walk, and then ultimately in a wheelchair. So I had a real first-hand view of how difficult it was to have multiple sclerosis back in the 50s and 60s. That was a time when there were no drugs. And so you did whatever you could. There was therapy and there were things to do, but nothing really treated MS. In 1973, when a bunch of guys ended up at the University of Illinois in ZBT together, there were several guys that put together a 52-hour dance marathon, and it was a tremendous early education of young adults on how important it was to fundraise together.
That was a big part of college. It was great. I'm very proud as I look back on it and what we all accomplished.
There was no way to foresee that all of us would stay together, and this would be part of the glue in terms of everybody having the same mindset, from a charitable standpoint and from a giving back to the community standpoint.
Who knew when we were swallowing goldfish for every $10,000 that we would raise, what we've raised through the years.
What this golf event represents, besides Joe's hard work and efforts, is really the spirit that we had from college all the way through today.
I was chairman of the Chicago chapter when this golf outing got started. And there were men who brought the idea back from a Minnesota chapter, and it was going to be a men-only event. And I said, wait a minute, if a woman can be chairman of the chapter, then I think women should be allowed to play in the golf outing, and they have ever since. There's more and more every year. There were very few in the beginning.
In about the 5th or 6th year of its existence, Norm and Cohn came to me and said, "Joe, would you be willing to chair this event next year?" What I didn't realize was that Norm asked me to do that 29, 30 years ago, and I never asked him when I could stop. So here I am all these years later, and it truly has been a passion of mine. And what I've been lucky enough to see is the regeneration of workers that have come into this event. And it continues to grow because of the fundraising aspects. This is truly a fraternal feeling when you come to this golf event.
If you look around at the MS event, it's about MS, but it's about Joe's ability to bring together high school community, college community, business community, religious community, friends, family, and others. It's amazing to me how he's been able to do that. And he's united these communities in the common goal of MS. But I think the brilliance of what he's done is he's united these communities in the common goal of all of us doing something together to do something great for society as a whole.
The Cohn-Weil outing has certainly gotten bigger over the years, and as a result of the efforts of a lot of people, has been increasingly successful in raising more and more money each year. But you know, it's like something that started out good has gotten better over the years. So today, this is probably the best run golf-related fundraising event in the greater Chicago metropolitan area.
I learned a long time ago in life that Tom Sawyer knew what he was doing. And when you can get people to help you paint the fence, then you hand out as many paintbrushes as there are capable painters. We are very lucky. We have lots of painters in our community helping us grow the event, and we have a lot of fun. This is not only work, but we really have a lot more fun than we do work. So there's a bright future ahead for all of us at this.
What's so unique, I think, about the Cohn-Weil event is it's just so much fun. I mean, it's people that you don't necessarily see all year long, but you're excited to see at an outing that's at a beautiful venue, then playing golf, which is what people like to do. The food is fantastic. And oh, by the way, it's for a great cause.
Joe invited me to my first Cohn-Weil golf outing about 20 years ago. And after the first year, I just felt like it was just a terrific family to get acquainted with and spend more time with, and every year it just gets better and better, and the family grows.
The event brings the community together, and it's not just the local community. This brings in the broader community from both the Chicago area and beyond. People come in from California, people come in from the East Coast, people come in from Colorado, and it's great to see all the old faces come together for such a worthy cause, and it's part of what makes it special, because you know that people are all pulling the oars together for a good reason, but at the same time, you know it's going to be a good time. People are going to laugh, people are going to joke, we're going to have some fun.
It's constant laughter, it's seeing old friends, it's seeing new people, it's all about golf and dinner and talking and laughing and joking.
What has become very personally satisfying is the fact that our kids, our next generation, has become very active in our committees, very active in the fundraising element and the participation. And what ZBT instilled in us, we've instilled in our children. It'll be very interesting to see what the next generation does with this event.
As far as the scoring goes, there's always going to be a team that plays really good and they ham and egg it, and anybody that ever wins a big event like that is always going to get ridiculed for cheating.
We won it one year. We didn't think we were doing that well and everything else, and lo and behold, we actually won the thing.
Lots of gimmies, 5-foot, 10-foot, 15-foot gimmies.
Mulligans. I've never seen so many Irish people on this course.
This event is about MS, but it's also about many other things. It's called the Bear Open because it's about Dr. Harry Burstein's passion about this event, but it's also in memory of Dr. Harry Burstein, who was the most giving, caring individual.
Harry just became a grandfather And Hillary, his daughter, is just an evolution of what Harry was. Harry was very active in the MS event, but Harry was a friend. And when Joe or any of us needed anything, Harry was always there.
The Bear Open, in memory of Harry, really galvanized our group, really brought the ZBT flavor back to this event. And I can tell you now, 7 years later, we miss Harry as much today, clearly, as I did the day that I found out he wasn't here. But to me, he's here with us each and every moment of this outing. And I know he would be very proud of all of the friends that he touched. And clearly, I know how proud his family is of what he did.
My involvement with MS started because my father had MS and died of it in 1971. So actually, when we talk about the progress over the last 30 to 40 years, it pretty much mirrors the fact that my father had passed away a long time ago. And since then, the advances in research and services have really been exceptional.
When my mother got the disease, their normal lifespan was 16 years. Today, when you get the disease, it's a normal lifespan. So it's come a long, long way.
My mother was afflicted at an early age with MS, and to see her go through all of her life like that, it really warms your heart when somebody is giving to the cause.
I just look at it as an extension of my responsibility, to help do our little bit to find a cure here for MS. We live with it every day.
Life would be a little bit easier without MS. Daily activities would come easier, traveling would come easier. You'll go on your long walks on the beach, go out dancing for the evening. It would be wonderful. It could happen one day.
It's just a debilitating disease, and hopefully someday they get this. It's hard, but if you don't keep trying, it doesn't work out.
MS is not a death sentence. And right now, there are so many new drugs on the market. There are many more on the horizon, but we are so not done yet. And it is due to the grace and generosity of so many donors that we've gotten as far as we have, but we need more.
Whether it's somebody that writes a check for $100,000 or 50 toward a mulligan, it all helps.
There's a lot of committed people, but there still is no cure, so that's what keeps us fundraising.
We're grateful for all that progress and all the other symptomatic relief, but we won't be happy until there's cure and prevention.
This is our charity of cause. It's about finding a cure for MS. If not for Laura, for other younger people that get diagnosed with MS and trying to prevent them from having the symptoms and the progression of a disease that is not good. Like Laura's lived her life. She'll be a trooper. She'll be a hero.
Joan and I want to extend our best wishes to all of our friends and to everybody here, everybody. Thank you for supporting MS. On behalf of the entire Cohn-Weil committee this year, and every Cohn-Weil committee in the past 35 years, I am privileged and honored to say thank you so much for all of your effort, all of your time, and the important funds that we will continue to raise until we reach our goal. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening.
Please celebrate me home. Give me a number, please celebrate me home. Play me one more song that I'll always remember, that I can recall whenever I find myself too all alone. I can say